have to say about
because
that?
corruption and
what do you also have to say about that particular
officers?
incident?
Yeah, to be very honest with you, I think I appreciate your questioning because I think he responded after the EC report came out to indicate what was happening there. So truly, I concede that the look and feel of that video, okay, tells you that something is afoot. And if you look at it ordinarily, you come to that conclusion. But if you then take a moment to examine it and say, okay, well, given the skepticism, now let me look at it objectively and see what is happening. You see an individual who gave, people he'd been chatting with about what the process has been, if things were going all right and all of that, which is the standard questioning if we go monitoring. And on the basis of their chat, maybe establishes that they are not eating at the time, and so therefore, take this. You could, in shedding your skepticism, understand that probably it's okay to have done that, or it's reasonable for him to have done that. Though you won't do it, I won't do it, given the generous environment. But you see, Maliba is talking about what happened to 50 Ghana cedis to buy lunch. If he had given 1 cedi to buy water, the same conversation will be had here. So it has nothing to do with the envelope or it is 50 cedis. The idea is that the individual in the moment decided to give that. I want to say very clearly that it is not a party design for him to do that. Maliba was saying that the party has not disassociated itself, we have not issued any statement. I spoke before you and I did say that the party didn't sanction anything like that. At any rate, I wasn't given any money to go and give anybody. And so I speak from that place to let you understand that the party did not sanction that. Now, on his own humanitarian level, feels he wants to do that, we can judge it for what he has done and then apply what systems we can put in place to check that in the future. But he did that out of his goodwill, seeking to help another. It cannot be for the purposes of the New Patriotic Party, because I know he's not been put to that. And he had not.
The Kodeo statement speaks about what many believe ought to be what the party, the NPP, should be candid in confronting. It says that in the reported incident, it is even more telling that the supposedly innocent offer of lunch money came preconcealed in an envelope. It is because of the practical impossibility of proving one's motive in offering or accepting offers of lunch or lunch money in these circumstances that the best policy in matters of this kind is a zero tolerance policy prohibiting such conduct on both the side of the giver and the receiver. So the suspicion now is, and it's a reasonable suspicion,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes.
That he must have had this kind of preconcealed envelopes, not one, and must have gone round and distributed them, except that on this occasion, without planning, the videos caught him.
Yes. I think what the point they're generalizing from that incident to say that he's done that, possibly he's done that everywhere else, except only one camera caught him. That's a reasonable generalization to make under the circumstance. But I'm saying that even if that is what he's doing, to what extent is that capable of influencing the outcome?
How do you know?
Please. To what extent? Because we're exploring the matter.
Do you condemn it?
Absolutely, I've said that. That I'm saying that I wouldn't have done that. He knows he shouldn't have done that. But then on the
you
on
condemn
the
it. You say you condemn it.
I just indicated to you.
So if you condemn it, then there must be something wrong with it.
Yes, I just told you that the look and feel of it, okay, and the circumstances in which that was offered can be problematic, right?
He says he was offering lunch.
That's what I'm saying, yes. So now, when you shed your skepticism, then you get to listen to him and say, okay, well, under what circumstance will he do that? One, he had established that the people had eaten lunch at the time he was there.
10 a.m. He forgot when he was writing that statement.
Well, I don't know, but
that was 10 a.m. when he was caught.
You see, something. The fact is what we are dealing with. That's what he had said. We can read our meanings into.
No, we are not reading meanings. He was caught on Joy News.
Yeah.
And at the time, The program that was airing, it airs at 10 a.m.
I'm not disputing that. I'm saying what he has said on record is what we are discussing, right? Unless you want us to go away and then begin to imagine why he would do that and read into his motives. But what is substantial is the fact that he gave it for the purposes of lunch, which is on record. And I'm saying that in that moment, you look at the issue twice and say, okay, well, when I look at it skeptically, I think that this man is trying to corrupt or compromise the people. But under what circumstance would he do that in the open? And to what point and what instruction was issued? When he gave the money, the envelope to them, he didn't say anything else.
When you look at the video, he was not actually giving in the open as he claims. You will see that the officials were at one side where the police officer was. Mm-hmm. And then he has a conversation with them and they move away from the police officer to the other extreme. It is at that point that he is dropping the envelope, picks it from his pocket. We cannot say it's in the open because he didn't know that the cameras were capturing him.
Well, the camera is not a definition of the open. The place was open. The camera is just a lens that's captured it. The open is where the people were, right? So they moved from one end to, well, I think it was just one, the gentleman that moved to join the lady. The lady was stationary at the table. The gentleman joined him. And so still in the same election perimeter. Okay. But the substantial point, and I think I agree with you largely in saying that this is something that looks, suspicious, but I think that we need to be cautious in reading such meanings. I totally disagree with Kodeo in making the point that on the basis of one instance, then we're saying that the 5 police stations that he was in charge of, he was doing that. I mean, it's a reasonable extension to make, but for me, I say that it's a stretch too far. Let's understand that, yes, under certain human circumstances, one will want to be generous, and he had stated, to the extent that we can't read his mind, we can't plug in and decode what his real intent were.
Have you ever been part of election monitoring and you got to election officers and felt like giving the officers lunch? You've done that before?
I have not done that before.
You won't do that, will you?
Well, if a demand is made of me and I feel I could meet it, but it hasn't happened to me. Now, because it hasn't happened to me or none of us here have done it before, we cannot say that it's not possible.
Okay.
That under the circumstance, just one quick second, under the circumstance, what he felt, what sympathy or what connection he felt with them to want to do that to these 2 individuals, that for me is a matter under investigation. So I think the full fact will be available for us.
Dr. Sribo Kweku, Kodeo says they applaud the Electoral Commission for acting swiftly once you became aware of the incident by withdrawing the 2 officials for further involvement in the conduct of the elections